Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. So we are diving back into my 5-look 1 palette series today, and I am taking it all the way back to the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. I've gotten so many requests to do 5 looks using this palette, so we are finally here. So first off, I want to say, if you are new to my channel, if you've never seen these videos, it's where I take one eyeshadow palette and I create 5 very easy looks using that palette. And I like to do easy looks because realistically that's what I do. Like, even when I'm not filming videos, if I'm doing my makeup, my eyeshadow is really simple. It's not too much going on with my eyes. And I have noticed a lot of you that watch my tutorials, you are into those simple, easy type of looks. So and I also want to keep it simple because if you are a beginner in makeup, it's just going to make it easier for you to I guess follow along or just recreate these looks. Even if you're not a beginner in makeup, I know a lot of us who are, you know, I don't want to say us because I'm not a makeup artist, but I know there are a lot of you that are makeup artists and you don't always want to do, you know, cut creases or just these really what's the word? Detailed eye looks. Sometimes we just want to keep it simple. Sometimes we want to keep it natural looking, and sometimes we just don't want so much going on the eyes. So these looks are for everybody. It's not just for the beginners, it's for everybody. But yeah, that is what we're doing. So I don't want to spend too much time talking right here. So if you guys want to see 5 very easy looks using the Modern Renaissance palette, then let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, so as most of you know, the first thing that I always do when I do my eye looks is go in with a transition shade. And I like this palette because I actually have options for that. So if you don't know what a transition shade is, it's the very first shade that you use that's going to allow all your other shades to blend in more seamless. So typically you'll put your transition shade in your crease. And with that, in this palette, I can use the shade Raw Sienna. Now, if this is a little too light for you, you can actually mix it. So what I have done in the past is I've mixed Raw Sienna with Cypress Umber, and this is a really dark brown. So you don't want to be too heavy with that if you are going to be using that as a transition color. But today I'm going to dip into Raw Sienna. Another shade that I can use in here as a transition color is Red Ochre, also mixed in with Raw Sienna. I can also use Burnt Orange. This one kind of mixed in with Rilger at the very end. So I do have several options when it comes down to a transition shade in this palette, but today I'm just going to dip into one, and that is going to be Raw Sienna. And the brush I'm using is going to be my Morphe M504. So I usually use this, I actually use this more than any other blending brush for the first shade that I use. And then I'm also going to be using my Anastasia double-sided brush that came in the palette today. So starting out with Raw Sienna, we're just going to put this in the crease and just buff it in. And you can see here, this color is really close to my actual lid color, but that is what I'm actually going for. I don't want too much of a color, like I don't want too much pigment right there. So I'm trying to keep it as close as I can to my actual natural lid color. So you can definitely see a difference right here. So this side we have the Raw Sienna as our transition shade, and then over here we don't have anything on the eyes. By the way, I know I'm gonna get questions on this. I don't put on eye primer. I usually do concealer and then a little bit of setting powder on my lids. So I already have my concealer on my lids and I already have my setting powder on my lids. But I feel like, well, for me, it works just as good as eyeshadow primer. So that's my primer for my look. So the next shade I'm using is gonna be this one right here. It's called Rilger, and it's a dark, kind of like a rust orange shade. And I'm gonna stick with the same brush that I was using, which is the Morphe M504. And I'm gonna place this color at the edge of my lid, the outer part of the lid, and just pretty much tap it right here. And it is gonna look a little messy, but that's because we have not started blending anything yet. But I'm just tapping it right there at the very end. Now taking that same brush, I just went ahead and wiped it off on a dry napkin. I'm gonna go into the crease right here and just blend it into that transition shade so it can kind of fade into it. And I want this to look soft, so I'm going back over where I applied the orange and just going back over it and just tapping it, blending it in, and then taking it into the crease. I'm not pulling it all the way over though, I'm just staying right on the outer part of my lid. Now I will go in one more time with that color just to pack it on and kind of lightly sweep it into the crease. See how once you build it up, you get more of that pigment, but it still looks really soft. So I'm not gonna go overboard with it. Just put about that much and then do the other side. Now, if you wanna go in with a little bit more, you can definitely do that just so the color can show up even more, but I like how this is looking. So I'm gonna stop right here. Now I'm gonna pick up my Anastasia double-sided brush and I'm gonna take the flat side of the brush. This is the shorter side, and we are gonna dip into Antique Bronze. This was my favorite go-to lid color. I remember wearing this shade, like this particular shade, all the time. It kind of reminds me of one of the shades that's in the Makeup Mario palette by Anastasia, but I'm gonna put this color right here where we didn't apply any eyeshadow. Just tap it in the inner corner and also kind of bring it onto the lid. You can use a spray on your brush if you want, but y'all know me, I like for my shadows to look really soft. But if you want the color to show up more, or if you want more of that metallic look, you can definitely spray your brush with a setting spray, or just kind of wet your brush so that way it'll pick up more of that shadow, and once you apply it like that, it's going to show up more vibrant on the eyes. So I'm basically packing it right here in the inner corner and lightly sweeping it over until it touches that orange color. And that's it. So I went ahead and applied some eyeliner on my waterline. I smoked it out to make it look a little smoky, and I applied some mascara and then popped on my Ardell Remy lashes, and the style is 778. All right, y'all, new day, new slay. So let's do pink and brown this time. I want to dip in Love Letter and Cypress Umber. So these two colors right here. And this time I think I want to just use one brush today. So the brush that comes in the palette. So I think this will be a good tutorial for those of you who don't have a lot of blending brushes, so you can just work with this one brush. So let's dip into Love Letter first. I'm going to take the smaller side of the brush and put it in that purple. Well, it's like a magenta shade, but we're just going to take the smaller side of the brush and we are placing it on the lid, and I'm just tapping it all over the lid. And then what I'm going to do is flip it over. I'm going to use the blending side. I'm not going to put it in any other product. I'm just going to take it and kind of touch where we applied that shadow on the lid, and also kind of bring it up into the crease. Just like this. And we're going to go back and forth with this shade. So I flip the brush over again to the shorter side and packing more of that color. Well, I didn't dip it in the palette anymore. I'm just packing whatever was left on the brush, packing it, and then flipping it over and blending. And I think this is a good way to do it first, especially if you're starting out, if you're a beginner. Just use what is on the brush before you go back into the palette, because sometimes you'll probably pick up more than you want, and the look will be, you know, I don't know, I feel like less is more. So you just work it up to where you like it, instead of starting out with so much product on the lid. But I'm gonna go back into the palette again and pick up a little bit more of that color and pack it on the lid one more time, and then blending. So now that we have them blended, we can go ahead and go into the brown. I'm gonna take that brush and just wipe off most of the product on a napkin. So with that, the next color we're doing is Cypress Umber, that dark chocolate. And I'm gonna take the smaller side of the brush and I'm gonna take it and go right where, like really close to my lash line, just on the outer part, and then kind of bring it up into the crease, kind of like making a small C. This is my favorite like technique with my eyeshadows, is just making, well, putting like a darker shade on the corner. It's my favorite technique. But yeah, we're just placing it really close to your lash line and then bringing it up where your crease is, so making a really small C, and then kind of just filling it in like that. Now I'm going to flip it over to the blending side, and this is where I'm going to blend it into my crease. I didn't put any product and I didn't put any shadow on here. I'm just taking it as if it was clean, just blending the crease so that color can fade into the pink. Now that they are blended, you can actually stop right here and put on your mascara and be done. But I'm gonna still take the little fluffy side of the brush and go back into Cypress Umber, that dark chocolate. I'm gonna tap it in there very lightly and then place it on the outer part. So this is where you can actually build up that color if you want, so to make it darker. So now that it's already placed in the area that you want, you can just take that blending brush and tap over it and then start blending in the crease again. And then this is how it looks. So once again, I went ahead and applied my eyeliner, my mascara, and my lashes. And I just think this is another really simple look that you guys can definitely recreate. Okay, this next look, I want to do 3 different shades. So we're going to do Raw Sienna, we're going to do Bone Fresco, and then Red Ochre. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take the Morphe M504 first, and we're going to dip into Raw Sienna. I wanted to start out with this color first because I like to put this one in my crease. So this will be our transition shade. And then I'm gonna dip into Red Ochre. I'm still using the same brush for this. And I'm gonna build this color up. So I went in, I just tapped the brush in there, and I'm just gonna place it in the crease as well. I find that when I apply Raw Sienna first and then go in with a darker shade, it doesn't look too, what's the word? It blends better instead of just going in directly with the darker shade first. So applying that first transition color just makes it look more soft instead of like too splotchy. Then I'm going to take the same brush and wipe it off on my napkin to get most of that eyeshadow off. And then I'm going to go back into Raw Sienna, just boop, tap the brush in there like that, and then kind of go above the crease just to soften up those edges. Now I'm gonna pick up my Anastasia brush and use the little short end and go into Bone Fresco and just tap it all over my lid. Put it up to the crease, but just enough to where you can still see that second shade that I applied. And I want it to look like it's blending into that second shade. So I'm still kind of tapping my brush, but also kind of bringing it up into the crease. So just tapping it into that second shade so it can look like it blends into it. And then this is how it looks once everything came together. I actually like these colors together. I didn't think to do like this lilac color on the lid, but I actually like how it looks. Okay, y'all, so today is a new day and I want to do a no makeup look today because I am filming a couple of more videos, but I don't want too much going on the eyes. So I'm going to do my my signature look, which is a one shadow look, but instead of doing one shade, I'm actually gonna dip my brush in 3 different shades in this palette. So we're gonna go into Golden Ochre, Burnt Orange, and also Cypress Umber, and that way it won't look too dark, because I noticed when using Cypress Umber by itself, it kind of looks a little gray. It doesn't really look like a true brown is what I'm basically trying to say. So instead of it being so dark and gray looking on the eyes, I want to at least brighten it up. So just gonna dip the brush in Golden Ochre, Burnt Orange, and then lightly tap it in Cypress Umber. Kind of flick it off some because it does pick up a lot of product, and then just tap it all over my lid. See, this is even kind of light. It's on the light side. So what I'm gonna do to fix it, because I didn't expect it to do this, like to be this light, but what I'm gonna do is first I just need to pack it all over my lid like this. And I'm gonna take that same brush. This is the Morphe M504, by the way. Wipe it off on a napkin, and I'm gonna go back into Cypress Umber to darken it up some. Just go over it like that. Yeah, there we go. See how it kind of looks gray? Like it doesn't give you that true brown color, like the brown that's in the Jackie Aina palette. That one is a true brown, but this one is kind of gray. Now that I have packed it on, I'm gonna take the brush and swirl it on my napkin again to get most of that shadow off. And I'm gonna go back into the look and go into the crease and just blend the crease, kind of diffuse that color, and then lightly drag it up to make it look smooth. And then here we are with the final look. I didn't mention this earlier, but you don't have to apply lashes if you don't want to, but I prefer to do it because I am filming some more videos. Now for the last look, I am dipping into 2 shades, and this is gonna be another quick, simple look because I'm just gonna blend both of those shades together. So we're gonna go into both of the oranges in the palette, this darker shade right here and then the lighter shade right here. So just mix them, tap, 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 mix, mix like that, and then we are tapping it all over. I wanted to mix the colors together because I didn't want the look to be too dark. And that is a pretty deep, like a rust orange, so I didn't want it to be too dark. So just mixing in a little bit of a lighter shade will make the color show up. Well, it'll make it look lighter instead of dark. So, and that's it. That's pretty much all that I'm gonna do. And then after finishing up with my lashes, mascara, and eyeliner, this is how it came out. Alright guys, so that is all that I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed all 5 of these looks. Which one was your favorite? Was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Was it all of them? Let me know. Let's talk about it in the comments down below. And also leave your suggestions on what palette I should do next. Should I do another throwback palette? Should I do a newer palette? Let me know. So leave it down below in the comments, and that is all that I have for today. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you guys are subscribed if you're not subscribed already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.